your attention to 3 examples especially pertaining to power consumption. Here you see a Forrester report of 21, and look at this diagram. When we speak about global emissions, 40% it's about power, about gas, coal, and oil, right? It's a huge amount. And here we have transport, 23%. What's a little bit constraining here? Well, actually, when we speak about transport, we also use, for example, electrical cars, yes? Well, in this case, we consider we use power from coal, gas, or oil. And now there is debate. What do we have to do? Should we all transfer to, let's say, electrical cars? And for example, in Texas, it was a research done. What will happen if everyone will go to electrical cars by 2030? They made simulation, and actually they found out this is not possible, it's not feasible, because to do it, you need to increase Texas electrical grid by a factor of 10. And in reality, they can do only 2.5. So it's not possible. When I speak about Germany, well, you know, nuclear power stations are taken out from the grid, and it's replaced by brown coal power plants. Yeah? And actually, German energy is one of the dirtiest in Europe, right? And it's still in debate, but people say that actually in Germany, using electrical car, producing 2 times more emissions than diesel cars. So when we go on car production, what actually life cycle of car production? Of course, we start with raw material extraction, right? And then we need to process raw material. And then this is considered as scope 3. Yeah? Scope 3 is classification of emissions we generate, right? Scope 1 and 2, it's about car manufacturing. And scope 1 is direct consumption. And scope 2 is indirect, because we use in production of car energy, so we create emissions. And then we go to car sales and usage, and we end up with maintenance and recycling of car. And because I'm working for a steel company, what is very, let's say, profitable for us still lasts forever. It's very durable material, and means at the end, what we get scrap, right? And scrap is could be reused again, so we will skip this raw material extraction, and we will start directly with raw material processing, right? And it's very nice, and everyone was thinking about, oh, wow, we are leaders, yeah, because we will create less emissions than, let's say, aluminum or whatever industry. But today, our world is in a scrap war. It means that scrap is now a very scarce resource. And everyone tries to get scrap to produce less emissions. And here you see scrap field. It's in Brazil, where we will try to get all scrap in the country. And before, we only worked with big suppliers of scrap. But today, because of this scarce resource, what do? We go to the smallest suppliers of scrap. We bring to them containers, they fill it in. Then, through mobile applications, they call us, we come to them, we collect this scrap, we give them a new container. So that's how our company tries to win in this scrap war. So now, when we speak about emissions, right? Well, estimated market opportunity is $300 trillion from 23 to 50. It's a huge opportunity. So from one side, we need to reduce emissions, but from other side, we can make money by reduction of emissions. And I would compare carbon footprint as a reversed equivalent of gold, right? When country starts to print money, yeah, they actually should think about it is supported by country's gold reserve. Yeah? It's not the case now in each and every country, but this is actually what should be. And when we speak about carbon footprint, it is reversed. The less we have, the less we need to spend money to reduce this carbon footprint. So it's kind of currency, right? And in IT, 26% of scope 1 and 2 is is IT. Yeah? So it's approximately 2% of total carbon footprint. Second example, it's absolute beautiful example. I just visited Brazil in December, and it's absolutely must have. So, 66 years ago, in Brazil, on plant Juiz de Fora, they started to think about renewable energy. 66 years ago, can you imagine? And actually, next to the plant, there is a forest. And the size of this forest is 65,000 hectares. Actually, I'm not from Germany, I came from Luxembourg. Well, actually, it's a worldwide company, but I'm located in Luxembourg, and if you compare with Luxembourg, it's 1/5 of the complete surface of Luxembourg. It's a huge forest, right? And what do? They have created a source of renewable energy, right? So total the cycle of this renewable energy is 95 months. Yeah? How it happens? So first of all, 2 months they spend to enrich soil. Then they plant eucalyptus. And this eucalyptus is not eucalyptus that we have now in the forest, it's genetically modified eucalyptus. And in 7 years, eucalyptus grows up to 20 meters high. Can you imagine? Then what they do, on 5,000 hectares, so it's 1/12 of the total, they cut trees, they harvesting and drying wood, and then they bring it to furnaces, and there, in a condition of low oxygen, they start to burn it. And as a result, they become charcoal. They bring this charcoal to the plant, and actually this is a source of energy for blast furnace. Also, take it into account, then having this forest, yeah, it's also using CO2 from the air in a photosynthesis process, right? And this forest consuming emissions from 1.9 million cars. Yeah? So look at this mindset, yeah, Brazilian mindset. It's actually absolutely beautiful. And here in Europe, okay, you know, we say, okay, we'll use now brown coal, whatever. We need to think, we need to rethink our business. How can we improve the situation? How can we achieve something? And probably we need to speak to Brazil and learn from them, because this one is absolutely amazing. And at the end of the presentation, I will show you a 4 minutes movie about this beautiful forest. So it's my second example. And third one, going dark. This business transformation started 2,000 years ago, right? So 2,000 years ago, well, probably 1,500, we started to print books. Yeah? And how it happened, we started to use fiber. Yeah? Fiber, textile, paper, and so on. And actually, because of fibers are white, or it's not really white, it's a little bit gray or brown, yeah? We started to print on these fibers, right? But is it really what our eye look for? Well, actually, looking at white thing has a constraint. It strains your eye. Yeah? Look at the nature, not what we have here in this room, but outside. In the nature, do you see white color? Very, very rare. Yeah? It could be flower, it could be a form of the sea, it could be cloud, and of course the source of our light is sun, and sun is actually the white star, right? But we can't look at the sun without protecting our eyes, right? So actually, this is not really which is organic for us people. Look, if you look at night sky for 5 minutes, you'll be relaxed, you'll feel good. Yeah? Try to look at blue sky with the sun, of course, it's protected for 5 minutes. You become tired, right? So actually, look at, when we were students, we went to the school. We had this blackboard and this white chalk, yeah? And this is only supporting information what is on the board, because we were looking at our professor. Yeah, because if it's not white, it doesn't attract our attention, and we listen to the people, right? So it's, again, very organic. So now we started to create paper whiter and whiter. You know, like we actually trying to bleach rice or wheat. We wanted white rice, but it's not so good for our health. Yeah, looking at whiteboard is also not the best thing what we can do. But look, we started to print white paper, but then we went to monitors. And first monitors were actually black with green or white text on it, right? But what we did, we went to create new displays with white, bright colors, and then we have eye fatigue. And look, today I'm working very closely with Microsoft in Boston Consulting Group, and I have noticed that they have black presentations, dark presentations. Yeah? Boston Consulting Group green, Microsoft black. And having this in place, first of all, again, attraction is on the professor and not on the presenter and not on the screen. But from other side, consumption of energy using this black story is up to 50%. Depends on technology. When we use our mobile phones, and this is OLED technology, there is about 30% more consumption if we have white, so means we need to charge our battery more frequently. Yeah? So what I did myself, I just switched to black mode, right? On my mobile, I switched it also on my laptop. Now I have Excel and Word, everything is in black. Of course, it took some time for my brain to adjust, but now I really enjoy it, you know? And because of also I have different hat in Arcelormittal, I'm leading IT Academy, and I make for my students small cartoons for 1 minute, just bringing one message, yeah? So my next message would be, guys, let's try to go dark. So I really invite you to try this technology. Yeah, probably you will say no, but probably, and for my students, I have 100,000 students, yeah? If 2% will switch to dark mode, just will contribute to use of less energy. That's all from my side. Thank you very much. And now let's see movie that I prepared for you.
Our commitment to the future is to focus on technology, high productivity, and sustainability every single day. ArcelorMittal Bioflorestas was created to support this commitment, using state-of-the-art technology in charcoal production for the steel industry, providing a highly efficient, low-cost, low-carbon form of energy. Currently, our production aims to meet the demand of the Juiz de Fora facility with a bioreducer. This results in the annual production of 240,000 tons of charcoal from renewable forests, which cover about 65,000 hectares of areas available in the company's own units. In addition to these areas, the Vazante unit complements the demand for charcoal. Of the total area, 59% are allocated for forest planting, 32% are environmental reserves, and 9% consist of roads and structures. This complex activity begins with the genetic improvement of the eucalyptus to generate robust, fast-growing trees with properties that provide the ideal charcoal for the production of pig iron in a sustainable manner. The production process is long-term and begins with the preparation, correction, and enrichment of the soil until it is ready to receive the seedlings produced in the nursery. Every year, about 5,300 hectares of eucalyptus need to be planted. The stands are monitored at each stage of tree growth, which takes 7 years to reach the point of harvest. During growth, trees sequester carbon dioxide from the atmosphere through the process of photosynthesis. Currently, ArcelorMittal's planted forests remove 2,400,000 tons of CO2 from the atmosphere, equivalent to the emissions of 1,900,000 cars. During the harvest, 500 trees are cut per hour, which, after being transferred to the edge of the plot, are cut into standardized sized logs. This wood loses moisture for about 8 months until it reaches the ideal condition for transformation into charcoal. This transformation process takes about 15 days between carbonization and cooling in masonry kilns. There are 230 furnaces in the company's units, and each furnace produces around 1,000 tons of coal per year. After 5 years, the kilns must be completely reconditioned to recover their production efficiency. The gases generated from the kilns are sent to the burners, where the process of eliminating the greenhouse gas known as methane takes place, thus reducing gas emissions by 99%. Currently, 53% of the ovens are connected to burners. The goal is to reach 100%. This is a process that requires careful planning and an efficient execution, involving around 1,100 employees working in a synchronized way. In addition, the operations contribute to the development of nearby cities and communities, where ongoing relationship and socio-environmental responsibility actions are carried out. ArcelorMittal Bioflorestas is duly recognized and certified. In line with the company's purpose, it has been growing, improving, and expanding its production capacity for 66 years, while studying and developing technologies to increase production, preserve the environment, and reduce carbon dioxide emissions, thus contributing to the production of steel with intelligence, sustainability, and commitment to the future.
Is there questions? No? Yeah, sure.
This is like super impressive. I was just wondering because just before the Ukraine war broke out, I lived in Ukraine, and I know there were huge investments plans for green steel as the kind of future thing. And I was wondering if you could put that into consideration here, because of course one can't help a little bit but wonder, like you compared, for example, the growing forest, like how much emission it takes away in comparison to cars. But I was wondering, how much actually does it cause then to kind of turn it into coal, was my first question. And the other thing was that I was wondering, because this looks very impressive, of course, but then one can't help but wonder about biodiversity, for example, because you said it's the area of Luxembourg that this is like a monocultured forest, I guess, and I guess that's not super great for the environment too. And I do see the improvement, of course, and the development, but I was just wondering if you could dive a bit into these topics.
I didn't understand your first question, but I understood secondly. I will answer on second, and then we'll move to the first one.
Okay, great.
Yeah? Well, first of all, if you go to Brazil, first thing you will see eucalyptuses. It's natural for Brazil, yes. It was initially also eucalyptus forest. And, well, actually, what happens now also in Brazil, it's not related to ArcelorMittal, because, you know, you hear probably lots of stories that it's just cut rainforest and, yeah, there
one
is a
of
problem.
the stories, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But what they do, they have created new type of palms, yeah, and they plant palms that grow also very, very fast, and they use whole plant completely, eating, you know, creating fibers, creating coal. So also what they have in Brazil, they started to build huge wind parks, yeah, so to generate energy there. Well, you know, lots of startups in Brazil, and for example, ArcelorMittal invests this year 20 million in creation of startups that try to solve these types of problems. Yeah, really, I'm encouraging you. Just go to Brazil and see how cool it is. Yeah, and did I answer your question?
Well, I mean, like, not to dive too deeply into it, but I think like the natural forest, I guess, is not kind of monocultured in that way. So I was just wondering, like the biodiversity also affects very much the animals around, right? And if I'm correct, like 98% of all animals on Earth are now domesticated. So like, for example, birds and, you know, all other animals are kind of highly affected, I guess, by this monocultured foresting.
Well, as I said, it's natural, yeah. And if you go to Brazil, and you will see lots of monkeys, yeah, small monkeys, and it's very rare. I mean, this area of Brazil, of course, Brazil is huge, yeah. So if you go to Amazon, it's one story, but when you go to this Minas Gerais place, there you have mainly monkeys and not so much other animals. But we have the second plant. It's about flat products in Vitoria. And there it is actually integrated in nature. So first of all, for blast furnace cooling, seawater is used. And how do they do it? They bring seawater, is going around the blast furnace, and then it's going to the lake to cool down temperature till it is one degree higher than temperature of the seawater. And I was really amazed about, because giant turtles, they like a lot this one
warm water,
and they coming to this river, and you know, because it's actually a cascade, yeah, they start to jump, yeah, on the, you know, like you see here, you can see forel, for example, forel jumping in a falls, yeah, waterfalls. Yeah. The same is happening to these turtles. They just enjoy this environment. Second thing, on this territory, they have lakes, and in these lakes they have about 2,000 alligators. Yeah, also integrated.
Those I don't need, actually. The alligators I'm not crazy about.
So yeah, and there is special lab, innovation lab, that's actually looking at how you can integrate this thing. And for example, for the mining, for the ore, what they do, they have kind of mountains of ore in the plant, and they covered with tiny thing of gum, yeah, to reduce emissions when it's the wind, right? And they do it very funny. For example, for the holidays, they make it in the Brazilian flag, yeah, different colors. But again, this is how to protect nature, right? How to ensure that we don't have additional emissions and so on.
The interesting thing, like what I couldn't help but wonder was, because the comparison that you made and also the movie made was that the growing forest actually takes so much emission by reducing CO2. But then, of course, at the end of that process, when the wood is harvested and when it's brought to the furnaces, I guess the emissions start to really pile up.
Exactly, yes. Yeah. And but you see what they have implemented, they have implemented capture of methane. And when you do it, yeah, so you actually eliminate 99% of emissions. Of course, you have emissions, for sure.
A little
but
bit,
again, you have next to you the forest that collects these emissions. Of course, it's not
absolutely.
Not perfect, but it's at least what they do to protect nature, and how they actually try to produce green and renewable energy. Yeah? Because this we have to make difference between energy, green and renewable, right? When we speak about nuclear energy, it is green, it is not renewable, because we use uranium, right? But when we do like this, it's renewable energy, right? So we need to think
because it keeps growing. Thank you.
You're welcome. First question, can you remember?
Well, that was the first question.
Okay,
good.
Second
was about biodiversity.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Other questions?